For the first time since 1945, the far right wins first place in national elections in Austria. The Freedom Party has performed its historic best, gaining 12.6% of the vote, reaching a total of 28.8% of voters in an election turnout that was close to 80%. The People's Party, the current leader in the governing coalition, has managed to drop by 11.2% to one of their worst outcomes in a very long time. They are, by any stretch of the imaginations, the big losers, with only the Social Democrats coming in, effectively the same as they did last election, but also managing to eke out probably one additional parliamentary seat, and the Neos, the kind of liberal, neoliberal party, managed to gain 3 seats. But with the governing coalition of the right-wing ÖVP losing 19 seats and the Greens losing 10 seats, we see a dramatic shift to the far-right FPÖ in this new parliament, with the very small increase for the SPÖ and the Neos not really doing much to offset the 25 new seats for the far-right. So where did all this Freedom Party vote come from? Well, the main chunk of the Freedom Party vote comes from their existing vote from the last election, about 42% of it, but 31% of it comes directly from the People's Party, which means that the People's Party, basically collapsing, has been heavily absorbed by the Freedom Party. Not only that, that little white block there, that is non-voters that the FPÖ has managed to convert into voters, something that is generally considered quite hard in electioneering, but the FPÖ made a major point for many years now of going after people they consider not participatory within the Austrian electoral system. But if we look at all of the transfers at the same time, we can see a very chaotic political situation where everything is very fluid, where you see huge chunks of vote moving from party to party across the board. And not only that, for example, the SPÖ, you see a huge chunk of their vote becoming non-voters. You see a huge chunk of non-voter vote from 2019 going into the FPÖ. And you see the ÖVP's vote collapsing and being pulled into every single other party. 443,000 of those who voted for the People's Party in the 2019 election switched their vote to the Freedom Party. These are huge numbers. At the time, around 1.8 million people voted for the Freedom Party, but only 1.3 million did so in this election. That is a huge difference. The FPÖ, on the other hand, has almost doubled their vote share from 770,000 people to 1.4 million. Like in many other countries, the new voters of the far-right party are the old voters of the conservative party. And that far-right party, the Freedom Party, is the one that was singing SS loyalty songs at a funeral 2 days before the election. Because that's what a totally normal political party does, sing National Socialist SS songs at a funeral right before a democratic election. A funeral for a guy famous in Austria for saying that he was cancelled for wanting to do Nazi greetings. And one final comment for people from Austria. So there is a theory floating around that if this guy, Duskozil, was instead elected as the party leader of the Social Democrats, Duskozil here is your classic right-winger within a Social Democratic Party, that they would have come in first place. And they used the example of Denmark to show that, well, the Social Democrats there were very anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim, and they are in government again, so why don't we just do that? Well, fun fact, the Social Democrats were only out of office for one election, and the election they were able to get back in on, they actually did worse than the election they were voted out of. And to get back into government, they had to form a minority government where they only had 48 seats and the supply agreement by 3 other parties, one of them to their left. And in that time, they've made no gains at the European level, or the local, or the regional level. So don't fall for the myth that if we just had our own social democratic reactionary strongman, we'd be doing well too. The last thing Austria needs is a third FPÖ. The one bright side is that there is a chance that the ÖVP, the People's Party, does not form a coalition with the FPÖ and instead forms a coalition with the Social Democrats, bringing back in a grand coalition or a grand coalition plus with the Neos or the Greens. This is your best case scenario in this point. Because regardless if Kickle becomes chancellor, there's no other way to look at those election results than think, Fascism is back!